I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. I'll go back and say, okay, what are you going to be saying after this one? You might be saying Canelo was too old. Canelo got old. This, that, whatever. At the end of the day, I think I said this before people killed me, but I said it before it was as easy to say as it is maybe now with Canelo coming off a bed.
Teddy Atlas has just dropped bombshells on Canelo Alvarez ahead of his fight with Terence Crawford. On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson said that he thinks Bud Crawford is going to beat Canelo Alvarez. He called Canelo a great fighter, but believes Bud has all the skills needed to win. When asked if the weight difference would be a big problem, Shakur said people make it a big deal, but he doesn't think it matters much in this case. He explained that while someone like David Benavidez is a lot bigger, Canelo is not that tall and isn't huge compared to Bud. Shakur also talked with Bozy Ennis and said they believe there's a real chance Bud could stop Canelo if Canelo underestimates Bud's power or gets careless in the ring.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Yeah. You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height-wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No.
Corey, how you got a decision to stop this? Because Bradman and Bozy think that Bud actually might stop it.
Me and Bozy talked about that. That's crazy. Me and him got on the phone, talked about it, but I think that's possible. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud could crack too. So.
However, Teddy Atlas said he believes Terence Crawford is truly special. He respects Canelo Alvarez as a very good fighter, but feels Crawford has something rare. He mentioned that even though Crawford may not have the strongest list of opponents, he shows natural talent that cannot be taught. Teddy talked about Crawford's timing, instincts, sharp focus, and ability to stay calm under pressure. He described this calmness as being more than just relaxed, saying Crawford sees and reacts to things that others cannot.
I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. And I think he has it. I see it. The timing, the instinct, the eyes, the ability to be chilly cold, not just cold and calm, but chilly cold, where you can see things other people don't see and react to it. I know he didn't have a great...
He also spoke about Crawford's move to 154 pounds, saying that while the performance was not his best, it came against a skilled opponent with a tough style. Crawford was also adjusting to a new weight class, which made the fight more difficult. Teddy explained that in boxing, people expect fighters to be great at all times, but some situations require patience. Even with these challenges, Crawford did what he needed to do to win. Teddy believes that Crawford's greatness comes from his mindset, his will to win, and his background.
Performance when he moved up to 154, but he was fighting a good fighter. He was fighting a guy that fought a very difficult style at that moment, and he was fighting at a weight class that was foreign to him, and we had to give him a minute. Nobody wants to give anyone a minute in this business. You're supposed to be great, you got to be great every minute. But I gave him a minute to kind of get his feet settled at a new weight class. And he still did what he had to do to win. But I still see the greatness. The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup. It's in his background, where he came from.
Moreover, Eddie Hearn said he thinks Terence Crawford is the fresher fighter going into a potential matchup with Canelo Alvarez. He admitted that he rarely bets against Canelo because of how good he is, but in this case, it would not surprise him if Crawford came out with the win.
For how many years? For 8 years, 7 years. But then again, you could still make that argument. Okay, At the end of the day.
On the other hand, Teddy Atlas said that more people are now starting to say they can see Terence Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez, and part of that comes from Canelo's recent performance. He pointed out that Canelo might be showing signs of aging and slowing down, suggesting that time may have finally caught up with him. Teddy explained that in a more detailed breakdown on his podcast, but in this summary, he shared that Canelo either looked old or lacked urgency in his last fight. He questioned whether the fire that once drove Canelo is still there, especially since he has already made so much money and might not feel the same hunger.
More easier for people to say, oh yeah, I can see Crawford winning. And why? Well, Canelo's last performance, real quick, what could it be? I already went over this. You want to hear it in a deeper breakdown? Go back and listen a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever the fight was, to our podcast. And I break it down. I break it down point by point. But right now, I just give an overview of it. Canelo, he's either old man time, that undefeated guy, he finally caught up to him. He's old, he's slow. Or here's another one. I already touched on, but I'll say it again. And you can get mad again. Or you can agree again. It's up to you, whatever. But he's made so much money that the urgency's not there. The fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now.
Teddy also said that maybe Canelo just could not get motivated for his last opponent and might only get excited for truly big fights now. Still, he left open the possibility that Canelo has simply aged and lost the drive that made him special. In a bold moment, Teddy even said Canelo might be a little overrated, though he quickly added that he still believes Canelo is a tremendous fighter.
Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right, if you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous.
However, Showbiz the Adult said the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has become more competitive, especially after seeing how easily William Skull moved around and avoided Canelo. However, he also remembered how good Madrimov looked against Crawford at 154 and what Ortiz did to Madrimov, suggesting that both Canelo and Crawford have shown signs of decline. He noted that Crawford will not run, and although slightly taller than Canelo, the height difference is not significant. Showbiz pointed out that fighters close to Canelo's size usually get knocked out unless they are Floyd Mayweather. He still picks Canelo to win by knockout, but admitted he is less confident than before.
The fight has gotten a little closer because of William Skull, how he moved around and how easy it seemed to get away from Canelo if you wanted to move around. But at the same time, I haven't forgotten how good Madrimov looked against Crawford at 154 and what Ortiz did to Madrimov. I do think Canelo has slipped, but it seems to be obvious to me also that Crawford has slipped. Another thing, Crawford is not going to run. Now, Crawford is a little bit taller than Canelo, but that's not tall enough. I haven't seen anyone match Canelo's height that closely in a very long time. And when they do, if your name not Floyd Mayweather, you're usually going night-night. I still have Canelo by knockout, but I don't feel the same confidence.
Moreover, Teddy Atlas compared a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight to when Manny Pacquiao faced Oscar De La Hoya. He recalled how most people thought De La Hoya was too big and would dominate Pacquiao, but Pacquiao's speed and movement completely changed the outcome. Teddy had confidently picked Pacquiao, saying he would be too fast and would box circles around De La Hoya. He acknowledged that some people later said De La Hoya was drained from making weight, but emphasized that no one knew that for sure at the time. In the same way, he said that if Crawford beats Canelo, people might say Canelo was too old, but those are things only brought up after the result.
At the end of the day, I think I said this before people killed me, but I said it before it was as easy to say as it is maybe now with Canelo coming off a bad night. I said that this reminds me, and it could be like Pacquiao when he fought De La Hoya. Pacquiao, everyone loved De La Hoya. You forget so fast. You guys got short memories. You forget how all of you said De La Hoya was going to kill him. They didn't know a lot about Pacquiao. It was his real coming out party, and he was too big for Pacquiao, and he was going to kill him, the whole thing. And I picked Pacquiao every day, twice on Sunday. I said he's going to be too fast. He's going to be too quick. He's going to box circles around him. That's what he's going to do. Now, I know there's a caveat here. I know you could say, well, Pacquiao was dead at the weight. We didn't know that going in. I don't know if he was. Maybe he was. I don't know. But then you could say, well, maybe Canelo is old.
Teddy said lastly that based on Canelo's most recent performance, his confidence in Crawford has not decreased. In fact, he likes Crawford's chances even more now than he did before. He believes that people tend to forget quickly and make excuses in hindsight, but from what he sees, Crawford has the tools to win. Teddy ended by saying that just like he stood by his Pacquiao pick years ago, he is standing by Crawford now with the same level of belief.
If you're going to make that excuse for De La Hoya, did I say Pacquiao by accident?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Did. Oscar. No, I'm with you.
I meant, I'm sorry. Of course, it wasn't Pacquiao dead at the weight. Oscar was dead at the weight. So people would say that. Okay, we didn't know it at the time. We still don't know for sure. Maybe that was part of it. But I'll go back. If you want to do that, I'll go back and say, okay, what are you going to be saying after this one? You might be saying Canelo was too old. Canelo got old. This, that, whatever. So at the end of the day, looking forward, off of the last fight with Canelo, I like Crawford every bit as much as I did before that Canelo fight, and even more now. That's how much I like him.
Jim Lampley expressed admiration for both fighters, saying he currently leans toward Canelo Alvarez in a potential matchup with Terence Crawford, though his opinion might shift as the fight approaches. He highlighted the quality of the matchup and made a high-level comparison, likening Crawford's versatility to that of legendary fighters. Lampley emphasized Crawford's ability to transition smoothly between offense and defense, along with his mental strength and grit when the moment demands it. Reflecting on Crawford's bout with Errol Spence, Lampley noted that many experts favored Spence, but he personally sided with Crawford due to his deeper grasp of the sport.
I do like him against Bud Crawford, but I do think that it's a great fight. Now, I could change my mind when we get closer. Bud Crawford, to me, is a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the multiple skills of Sugar Ray Robinson. He can defend or attack. He has a deep inner mean streak that he can employ at any moment in a fight to get what he wants. Before the fight against, help me out here,
Madrimov was his last fight. Spence?
Spence.
Yes.
Before the fight against Errol Spence, there were quite a lot of people in the sport, in boxing media, who were saying, I like Spence to win the fight. I was one of those people who said, no way. Errol Spence doesn't have the depth.
Continuing his thoughts, Lampley placed Crawford among the elite fighters of his generation, ranking him right alongside Canelo. He said this shared excellence is what elevates their potential clash into something extraordinary. Lampley believes both men are not only skilled in the ring, but are also highly intelligent strategists, making any fight between them as much a mental contest as a physical one. He said he is eager to witness how the styles and minds of these two elite boxers come together in the ring.
The intellectual understanding of prize fighting to beat Terence Crawford, who is the great professional of his era, along with Canelo Alvarez. That's why that's such a great fight. They are the two living, practicing ultra professionals in the sport. They know it inside out. And one way or another, it's going to be a spectacular intellectual matchup of two great ring strategists. Can't wait to see.
Joe Diaz strongly stated that Terence Crawford has no realistic chance of beating Canelo Alvarez, even though Crawford is his favorite fighter and in his view the best pound-for-pound boxer. Diaz explained that Crawford would be jumping from 147 pounds to 168, and while he might look competitive early in the fight, the difference in size and power would eventually become a major factor. He pointed out that Canelo has taken punches from heavy hitters like Gennady Golovkin without being seriously hurt, and if Canelo lands clean on Crawford, he believes it will be damaging.
I mean, there is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, I mean, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. I mean, a 147 pounder moving up to 68, I mean, he can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, good 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt him.
Diaz compared the situation to when Demetrius Andrade moved up in weight to fight David Benavidez. Andrade started strong but quickly faded as the weight and power difference took control of the fight. Diaz sees Crawford in a similar position, saying that while Crawford is extremely skilled, the physical mismatch is too great. He stressed that once the size gap kicks in, it shifts the fight completely. For Diaz, this potential matchup is more of a business move than a fair sporting contest. He believes it is mainly about securing a big payday for Crawford, not about a balanced or competitive fight.
You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade? Yes. Demetrius Andrade was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. I mean, look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andrade was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. I mean, Turkey on the cheek. It's a big fan of Terence Crawford. He wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man. It's business.
Danny Garcia acknowledged that Terence Crawford has been an active champion throughout his career, holding a title since 2012 and consistently maintaining a champion's mentality. He praised Crawford for his accomplishments and skills, but pointed out that moving up to 168 pounds presents a significant challenge. While Garcia believes Crawford has the necessary skills to compete, his personal opinion is that Canelo Alvarez will ultimately be too much for him due to the size and power difference.
Crawford has been active, and he's been a champion his whole career. You know, that's something you got to give Crawford for. You got to give Crawford his flowers. He's really been a champion since 2012. You know, has never not been a champion. So he has the champion's mindset. He is going up to 168. So that's a steep hill to climb. You know, I mean, he has the tools, but I think Canelo's gonna. My personal opinion, I think Canelo's going to be too much for him.
Keyshawn Davis predicted that Canelo Alvarez would apply pressure on Terence Crawford, aiming to land powerful punches. However, he believes Crawford's quickness and technical boxing skills would allow him to avoid those shots, particularly as the fight progresses. Keyshawn expects Crawford to increase his pace in the later rounds, making it more difficult for Canelo to land clean blows. He envisions the fight turning into a cat and mouse dynamic, where Crawford uses his speed and strategy to outmaneuver Canelo.
Middle rounds, of course, picking it up, and I feel like at the end, that's when they gonna really open up. But I see Canelo trying to walk Bud down, walk him into some shots, and I just feel like, you know, Canelo probably gonna be walking into a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Cat mouse.
Yeah.
You know. Square
like
circle.
Keyshawn also addressed the notion that a loss could hurt Crawford's legacy, firmly stating that it would not. He compared it to Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol, where Canelo's legacy remained intact after moving up in weight. Keyshawn believes that regardless of the outcome, Crawford's reputation would stay strong, considering it a win-win situation for him. He also pointed out that even if Canelo lost, he would still benefit financially from the huge payday that would come with such a high-profile fight.
Let's say Bud lost that fight. You feel like that ruins his legacy?
Hell no.
That's Canelo.
No. It ain't ruined Canelo's legacy when he moved up and tried to fight Bivol and he lost.
Yeah.
He moved up and tried to be great. And he lost. You know, so it ain't gonna ruin Crawford's legacy. And that's a win-win for him. For sure. But I think he's gonna win the fight for sure.
Is it still a win-win for Canelo too? Or if he takes that fight and loses, people are gonna be like,
I think it's a win-win because he's getting a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
Robert Garcia expressed his admiration for Terence Crawford, but predicted that Canelo Alvarez is more likely to win. Although he is not close friends with Canelo, Garcia is familiar enough with him to exchange pleasantries if they meet. He has spent more time with Crawford, witnessing his growth under Top Rank. Garcia recalled how when Top Rank was deciding whether to sign Crawford, both he and Mikey Garcia praised him as an exceptional fighter. Despite his connection to Crawford, Garcia still thinks Canelo will come out on top, but acknowledged that Crawford certainly has a shot.
I see Canelo winning, and I'm not, you know, I don't know Canelo very well. I'll say hi to him if I see him. He'll say hi to me too, but we're not friends. You know, I could probably say I've spent more time with Crawford, so I would love to see Crawford pull it off. I would be more happy to see Crawford win, you know, because I know him better. I see him develop in Top Rank. Top Rank actually were asking for our opinion before they signed him.
What'd you say?
What do you guys think? Me, Mikey said he's a great fighter. You know, sign him. He's a great ass fighter. So you know, I know him better. I would love to see him pull it off, and he could. But I still see, I don't know, I see Canelo winning.
Garcia also talked about the significance of Crawford defeating Canelo, stating that such a win would firmly establish Crawford as one of the top 3, or at least top 5, greatest fighters in history. He described the potential victory as huge and unbelievable, emphasizing how extraordinary it would be for Crawford to achieve undisputed status in 3 different weight classes.
Bud says if he beats Canelo, he's in the top 3 GOATs, greatest of all time.
It's definitely. I think he maybe top 5, but he will be up there.
How huge is that win?
It's huge, man. It's huge, very huge, very huge. That would be unbelievable, man. You know, that would be awesome. That would be a 3 undisputed in three divisions.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.